Hello everybody, it's me, your friendly neighborhood. This may come as a surprise to you, but I've become a bit of a Resident Evil fan over the past few years, ever since the Resident Evil 2 remake. Fun fact, I was actually going to do a live stream of me playing the original Resident Evil 2 on the Nintendo 64 emulator, but I couldn't get past the tank controls, so that kind of failed. And also, I hear that the Nintendo 64 ports butcher a lot from the original games. I even made a funny moment video with a suggestive thumbnail of my character helping Claire Redfield. If those of you who watched my most underrated gaming video in Apex Legends, you might have realized I teased at an RE3 make gone wrong video. I declined on doing so even though I had the footage for it, but I really wasn't happy with the game itself. I just felt like something was missing. Come to find out, that feeling was right. And a lot of people revere Resident Evil 4 to be the game that reimagined the genre itself and won over a lot of fans into the franchise. And coming back and looking over the game as a whole, I can see why. Engaging gameplay, a compelling story with dialogue that doesn't sound forced or aged like Jeffrey Epstein's death. It's a really fun game that I will be picking up in the future. But I think this comes as no surprise to you guys when I say I've become a virtual reality fanatic as well. From chilling with my friends in VR chat to legitimately shitting my pants because all my weapons spontaneously combusted while being sieged upon by a group of zombies in The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Sometimes I have a hard time putting down my Quest 2 and just wanting to share the experiences I've had with you guys on YouTube. Wait, you guys do remember I do more than just commentary on this channel, right? Judging by how well my Slender Gone Wrong video did, I think a lot of you forgot. Now, by mentioning Resident Evil and VR within the same video, I think you guys know where this is going. Back on April 21st, Oculus did a gameplay showcase basically confirming that Resident Evil 4 was being formatted and to be played on the Oculus Quest 2 as a first-person horror shooter experience, with some of the changes being and not limited to enemy behaviors and patterns being rebalanced to fit the new gameplay mechanics, being able to grab weapons off your body like in Saints and Sinners, the ability to dual the weapons, and cutscenes being left untouched in their original formats being updated to the Unreal Engine 4, just to name a few. Now I want you to pay attention to that last part because it will become really important later. Now if you're a hardcore Resident Evil fan and VR enthusiast, you pretty much jumped for joy like I did. Playing one of the best Resident Evil titles that is regarded by a majority of the fanbase as a masterpiece is one thing. But playing it in VR, experiencing everything in first person, just like you're there yourself, is something of a whole nother ballgame. And if you're also like me, you probably noticed that there has been little to no updates ever since that announcement showcase. No official Twitter page was made for the game, no Instagram account, nothing. Not a crumb of news. And if you're also like me, you joined in the vocal minority of people on Twitter asking about any new information regarding it. Hell, I've even signed up for updates on the Oculus webpage and received fuck all. Now, just a few days ago, I checked Twitter on a whim that maybe some news came out that hadn't reached me yet, and I came across a newly posted thread from a user named Alex Baldwin. No, not Alec Baldwin, the American actor who I can only remember as a douchebag who tried to get with a business mother in the live-action Cat in the Hat movie. Alex Baldwin, a random Twitter user I happened to run into. Now, before I read off what he said in the thread and give my opinions on it, I'd like to point out that everything in this thread is not confirmed at this point, because Alex himself stated he can't post the proof he's been given, lest it may put someone's job in danger. And I didn't ask for it because I don't want to run the risk of telling other people, showing them the proof, and it somehow gets out and I'm the reason someone in the development team is out of a job. He was also pretty nice when I asked him about using the tweets and making a video about it, and said he didn't mind me not censoring his name. Now, usually I don't censor names in tweets, but since this isn't a roast, I asked him to see if he wanted me to censor his name because some of this information is pretty sensitive, I guess. But he said he didn't mind being associated with it. So with that in mind, let's get into these tweets and give my thoughts and opinions. To start off, Alex says, so the game is the VR port of Resident Evil 4 for the Oculus Quest 2. Supposed to come out later this year. The shit I've seen? Dialogue and cutscenes changed. Keep in mind, this isn't a full-on remake, this is effectively a port. Here's the details. You know the scene where Lewis comments on Ashley's ballistics?
I I see that the president's equipped his daughter with ballistics, too.
That's supposedly going to be cut. The very end where she propositions Leon for some overtime.
So, after you take me back to my place, how about we do some, overtime?
Sorry.
Somehow I knew you'd say that, but it doesn't hurt to ask, you know?
That's also reportedly getting the axe. Flirting with Hunnigan? Yep, that won't even survive. What's the reason? Apparently Oculus wants to do right by correcting old sexist tropes in the game. And because the game isn't a total remake, dialogue can't be re-recorded. So parts of the scenes are just cut. As in straight jump cuts, it's jarring. Now, I'm going to tell y'all to take this with a truckload of salt. I can't show you what I've seen because, well, I don't want to cost anybody their job. So you're just going to have to trust that I've seen some shit that convinced me. If you don't believe me, that's fine. But I also get the feeling this is going to result in a lot of backlash, and a few think pieces from Kotaku clones. The sort of how to properly remake a game pieces that they seem to want to write when the Final Fantasy VII remake dropped. Why these think pieces? Because I can't help but think that this is going to be the battleground to justify quote-unquote cleaning up other remakes. Quotes like, "Why do you want to preserve misogynistic tropes and microaggressions if the story isn't fundamentally altered?" will persist. This isn't to say that this is all some elaborate conspiracy between Oculus and Kotaku tier game journalists, but rather, I think the two may start fueling each other. Changing remakes feeds the think pieces, and the think pieces lead to more remakes changing. Remember how some people freaked out because EA said they wanted the Dead Space remake to be quote-unquote relevant to modern audiences, and how that seemed to imply that stuff would get removed for not being politically correct enough? Resident Evil 4 VR is going to lead to more people panicking like that. This isn't the same level of Jill Valentine or Tifa Lockhart's looks being changed for a remake, or even Miranda Lawson's ass being toned down for a remaster. We're at the point where dialogue is being changed and cutscenes are being clipped for what's effectively a port. A port. And if you call it Soviet-style censorship, which is totally a justifiable comparison, you're probably going to be accused of being nostalgic for bigotry. Prepare for the shit show. If it doesn't come with Resident Evil 4 VR, it'll come with another game. This is just where we're at now. Oh, and for the record, I saw material from the game itself. Still waiting to hear back about possibly sharing some screen caps. If you gotta wait till release to know for sure, just remember this line gets changed to, "I guess no one's safe here." Then he posts a screenshot of Leon looking at what is presumably a female corpse, and he says, "Guess there's no sex discrimination here." Which, personally, I don't see why they would change that. It kind of makes sense. More proof for you to find later. Leon and Hunnigan's first conversation, the "somehow I thought you'd be a little older" line gets cut, but the models haven't been changed to accommodate the change in dialogue, so it's a quick static cut to the next line. Jarring. Oh, and one more thing. They promised that the cutscenes would be left intact, which, based on what I've seen of the ballistics bit, they're not. Then he links off to the IGN article, which basically lists off what I said at the beginning. Now, after reading all of that, I'm just really disappointed. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still excited for the game, and I'm still gonna get the game and record it for YouTube. But to know that they'll be cutting certain dialogue to be more politically correct, kinda leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I know some soy-drinking, rainbow-haired feminist ally gaming journal will probably find my video later down the line and call me some sexist, racist pig because I want to hear Lewis tell Ashley she has nice tits. But the fact of the matter is, it's not that. You can make the argument that taking it away doesn't change the story all you want. It doesn't change the fact that you're removing or changing things that doesn't need to be touched in the first place, if you really want to keep the integrity of the original game. It's moments of levity that just make you chuckle to yourself before everything goes to shit again. And I find it funny they're cutting the scene about Ashley's ballistics when she actively calls Lewis out for this right afterwards.
I see that the president's equipped his daughter with ballistics, too.
How rude!
And I don't believe there's any relevance with my figure and my standing. Who are you?
And cutting flirtatious dialogues between Leon and Hunnigan, where Hunnigan gently turns down Leon solely because they're on assignments, just seems really wrong. Because you're cutting out scenes that show like these characters' chemistry and their relationships. They're doing it because they want to appease a minority of people who don't even play the games for the fun of it. They play games because they want to see how sexist or how racist they can make it, or just want everything to be squeaky clean, PC, unproblematic. Hell, even cutting the very last cutscene, where Ashley basically asks Leon to bang her, but Leon turns her down because if it ain't wrong, it's wrong, just feels extremely terrible and downright disrespectful to fans. And once again, this isn't a remaster. I don't know why people are saying this is a remaster. It's not. The fact that they're changing these, and here's another thing. Hardcore Resident Evil 4 fans who religiously play the game and know these cutscenes word for word, dialogues word for word, because they've heard it so many times, they're gonna notice it's missing. And they're gonna complain about it. So why even bother doing it? And don't get me wrong, changing a scene like they did in Dragon Ball where Master Roshi is being a huge fucking creep, even making the viewers uncomfortable, it's perfectly fine. But this is nowhere near that feel. You're taking out scenes and not even replacing them with anything worthwhile. Now, remember when I said the point of cutscenes remaining intact would be relevant later? Well, that time has come. I'm pretty sure you guys remember the critically acclaimed Last of Us 2 that rustled a lot of jimmies with the fact that they misled you in the trailer, making it seem like Joel would play a bigger role than he actually did, and people were upset about it. Yeah, this is the classic case of being lied to your face for shock value. And it's the same with this game. They said that the cutscenes will remain untouched, but they lied to us. Like I said before, all the information should be taken with a huge grain of salt since I'm unable to show concrete proof. But if this is actually true, it bothers me that they're gonna do something like this. And people who make these think pieces and these articles will try to make those out who have an issue with it and claim they're like a bunch of sexist pigs. Well, I'm here to tell those who think like that they can go back and take their ass back into that virgin cave they crawled out of. And who knows, this could be a complete misdirection and Alex could have been given false information on purpose. I don't know. I'm just making a video about my thoughts and disappointment, and while I'm still excited for the release of the game, it has been dulled considerably learning about this information. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section. And please, for the love of God, subscribe if you're new. I want to get to 3,000 by the end of the year. I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.